To remain updated with the latest business news, click on the bell icon.
Matthew D. McGill joining us on the show today. He is partner at Gibson, Dunn Crutcher, LLP. Matthew, thanks so much for being with us. A lot of interest around this case, and I'm glad we have the opportunity to clarify some things with you. Now, on the Quebec Court hearing, the judge has reserved decision on the motion to quash the seizure orders. He's reserved that decision. So when is the order now expected? And also, for the record, what's the exact amount that is ordered to be seized?
We understand the amount currently under seizure to be approximately $30 million. But the seizures are continuing in nature. So as funds come into the possession of IATA, they would also be seized under the current order. As you noted, the judge did reserve decision on the matter. He promised to rule quickly, I understand, but we don't have an exact date by which we expect a decision.
So legal experts in India have also raised questions as to the tenability of the order that's been passed by the Quebec Court. As the counsel for Devas, how would you respond to that?
I think some of these legal experts misunderstand some fundamental aspects of what's going on in Canada.
Okay.
I have read reports where certain legal experts have said that this is an effort to enforce the arbitral award against Antrix, and that's not true. These are efforts to enforce our arbitral awards, the Devas shareholders arbitral awards against the government of India itself. And it's well established under principles of international law that a debtor can be, that a judgment against a debtor can be satisfied by seizing the assets of alter egos or agencies of that debtor. And that's what the Airports Authority of India is. And Air India, I think, as the sale process to the Tata Group really well demonstrates, is simply an instrumentality of the government of India.
Okay, but just to clarify that further, and I think you've alluded to it, but what they're really saying here is that such a seizure to pay off the liabilities of another legal entity amounts to what they're calling a travesty of justice. And they're of the view that in this case, financial liability has been imposed on a party that's not privy to the contract. How would you respond to that?
Well, that's exactly the legal expert I was speaking of. And if you actually read that article, his first name was Vikram, as I recall. But he believes that we are seeking to enforce an arbitral award against Antrix, and that's simply not true. This is our arbitral award against the government of India itself, and we're enforcing against assets of agencies and instrumentalities of the government of India that are part and parcel of the Indian government.
Indian lawyers are also referring to this as a growing forum shopping phenomenon. That's what they're calling it, and saying that this is something that countries will have to learn to grapple with. What would you say to that charge?
This is not at all forum shopping. This is the routine enforcement of an international arbitration award. India agreed to international treaties in which it agreed to allow arbitral awards entered against it to be enforced around the world. Unfortunately, India has defied those international treaty obligations. The Modi government has turned its back on those international treaty obligations. It refuses to pay the arbitral awards. So we, as the creditors here, are left with no recourse but to try to enforce against India's assets around the world. And until the Modi government returns to the negotiating table, that is exactly what we will do.
Well, Devas has actually had a long fight, I think a decade-long fight against Antrix, which we've been talking about. Parallel to that, there have been a couple of investigations as well into fund diversions against Devas entities in India. And, these are being run by some key investigating agencies. There's been a winding up order as well on that front. So how are you contesting that?
Well, the winding up order is being contested through the Indian courts, but this is a sham legal proceeding that is a brazen effort by the Indian government to shirk its obligations under these international treaties. Courts around the world outside of India are seeing it for what it is, which is simply, an effort to frustrate enforcement of the arbitral awards entered against India. We had, there have been 3 separate arbitrations about the Devas contract, 9 different arbitrators. Every single one of them has ruled that India was liable. In all of those litigations, which went on for almost a decade, India never once raised any allegation of fraud or impropriety by Devas. These are manufactured allegations, totally new, that are just simply kind of a routine effort by a defeated award debtor to shirk its obligations.
Sure. What do you mean by demanding that the Modi government return to the negotiating table? You have issued warnings that this is just the beginning of a global enforcement campaign and it will continue until India fulfills its obligations.
That's correct. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? I mean, this is a commercial dispute that could be easily resolved, and indeed, should be quickly resolved by the Modi government. The Modi government has made it plain and has made it a priority to attract foreign investment. The Devas shareholders, they are foreign investors, and the Indian government's treatment of them really is a warning to foreign investors that they should not invest in India. It would behoove the Indian government to negotiate a quick resolution with the Devas shareholders and end this dispute.
Now, the deal was done during the previous UPA government. It was also cancelled during their tenure. So why blame the Modi government then at this time, alleging that it's defying India's international treaty obligations to accord a fair and equitable treatment to foreign investors?
Well, the Modi government is clearly responsible for the actions that the Modi government is taking today. And that includes the refusal to pay the arbitral awards. That includes the sham investigations and other bullying tactics meant to try to frustrate enforcement of these international treaty obligations. So it is fair to blame, I think, the Modi government for the grief that comes upon India through our enforcement campaign. But the clear message I want to send to your viewers is that we want to negotiate a settlement. And all we need is the Modi government to return to the negotiating table and reach that resolution.
All right, Matthew, we'll leave it there for now, but we look forward to continuing to interact with you as this progresses. Good to get your views on the ongoing matter.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.